easy from Eddie Hernandez.
Hello everybody, welcome to GAW Academy Stormchaser. Last week, we saw one of the biggest shows in the history of this company, the biggest show in the history of the Academy. So much changed, including a new Academy champion. Kurt Andrews defeats Garrett Gibson in one of the best matches you will ever see and one of the best matches in the history of Australia. I think I'm pretty confident in saying that. Kurt Andrews is your new Academy champion, and here is the man, Kurt Andrews, making his entrance as champion for the first time to address God and the universe, everyone here and everyone at home. Everybody, we did it! 2 weeks ago, the Academy title was looked at as an afterthought. The champion was just another person. The title match, just another match. But in Sydney, we changed all of that. The Academy title is now the jewel it was meant to be. The heart of the sea every sailor spends their entire life trying to find. And I have it. I gave up everything else to become a champion in the Academy, and I'm telling you right now, it was worth it. I stand here now as the best wrestler in this company, bar none, and a man who will be recognized forever as the man who brought the GAW Academy forward. I spent the first 5 years of my adult life exploring never-before-seen areas of the globe, reaching new depths, discovering new wonders. I know how to lead men forward into the unknown, and that's exactly what I intend to do as your champion. What we are venturing into is territory none of us have ever been in. The GAW Academy has never been so big or so... Of all the places that we could have seen Oliver Parker, this is not the place I would have expected. The man who disgraced the entire event of Stormchaser Sydney by attacking Lee Carr after his match with Midnight. I can't believe Oliver Parker can even show his face out here. Kurt, this is very simple. No champion is a legitimate champion until they beat me. That's it? You've been gone for months, and then you showed up to beat a man half to death, send him to the hospital, and then you actually have the gall to come here and tell me I have to beat you to feel like a real champion? No. I came out here to tell you that in all our years in this sport, you've never fought me. You know you'll never be a legitimate champion until you've beaten everyone worthy in GAW, and you haven't beaten me. You're right. You're exactly right. And I do believe I have to beat everyone deserving of a chance to prove how much this title now means. But I also cannot encourage people to come out here and run their mouth and earn a shot at the richest prize in this sport. There are other places where you can do that, not here. So, I'll tell you what. I'll find Jason Parker, and I'll tell him I want you to fight in a #1 contenders match. Win, and I'll fight you at Bash. No questions asked. You'll never intimidate me with a fight. What a way to start this episode of Stormchaser, but no time to linger on this. We move right ahead. Katana takes on Caitlin Dunlap in a steel cage next. Well, it's time for one of the most brutal match types that you will find in the sport of professional wrestling, the steel cage. Throughout the years, the cage has been known to end the bloodiest of bloody rivalries, and tonight we hope that it will end what is happening between Katana and Caitlin Dunlap. It started over a month ago when Katana upset Dunlap in a match on GAW Dark. Dunlap got her revenge, as of course she so often does. A no DQ match was made, and Caitlin Dunlap seemed to have the advantage there, but Katana outsmarted the goddess, and Katana picked up a second win. Dunlap continued to attack her, eventually putting Katana on the shelf. Jason Parker decreed that both women would miss the trip to Sydney and they would settle their differences here. And it's a real shame they missed that trip as well, because they missed a historic match between Lazara and Yamamoto. The 19-year-old challenged the champion to become the new face of the modern era of the GAW Academy. Lazara ended up outsmarting, using her experience advantage to top the young future of wrestling Yamamoto. Lazara came out on top as the first recognized GAW Academy Women's Champion. Dunlap and Katana could have been there if they had just been able, or if Dunlap had been able to contain herself. Instead, they both had to stay here in the States, and here they are going to battle it out in a steel cage and hopefully put an end to all of this that we've seen between the two. Is there anything more intimidating than seeing the cage lower around two women who probably want nothing more than to hurt each other? This is a traditional steel cage match. Escapes are legal, and Caitlin Dunlap is going to try just that early on. Katana, she's too smart for that, and Katana yanks her down. And now Katana will give the escape a try. Nope, never mind. Katana off the ropes with an elbow drop. I figured she was going to escape. Try to get that one last final laugh over Caitlin Dunlap. You know that Dunlap is cowardly enough to try to escape this match and not pin Katana. Katana has been the one who's been willing to fight this whole time. And Dunlap is the one who's attacked her backstage, injured her arm, targeted that left arm as well. You can see extra padding on her left sleeve. And now Caitlin Dunlap with a Northern Lights suplex. And Katana, oh, this is how she beat her in the no DQ match. Katana, look at this, rolled her up, and Dunlap just able to kick out. That's exactly how Katana won their no disqualification match on Dark. Dunlap got a little bit too arrogant, too cocky, and Katana just caught her in that small package. You can hear the fans. They are fully behind Katana, and now it'll be Katana trying to rub salt in the wounds by escaping this cage before Caitlin Dunlap has the opportunity. And now Dunlap, she will be the one to catch Katana and go and ramming that leg straight into the cage, and now takes her off, and it'll be Dunlap now trying to take advantage, as Dunlap will be the one to try to escape the cage after tossing Katana off the top rope. Katana sees the danger, and we're getting kind of a slower paced match here between the two. There goes Dunlap. It's what I would have expected, given the heat that exists between these two. It is almost nuclear. And now Caitlin Dunlap raising Katana to her feet. Kiss my boot. And Dunlap now, she's going for a pin, trying to make a statement here. Katana in trouble, and Caitlin Dunlap makes her kiss the boot, and Dunlap has the last laugh inside the steel cage. Katana nearly outsmarted the goddess once again, but Dunlap, this time she was ready. And Dunlap tosses Katana off the top rope. Kiss my boot. And Dunlap, after everything she put Katana through, Dunlap finally has some kind of, I guess you could say, retribution for the 2 losses. It's not exactly what I think is fair, what I think is just, but you know what? In wrestling, we don't always get what's fair. Caitlin Dunlap comes out the winner. Backstage, Catherine Sakamoto. One more week, one more match. Yamamoto has lost. Can't say I'm surprised, of course, but there she was, in front of the whole world, a few meters away from the Sydney Opera House, fighting in the biggest match of her life. Couldn't be me. Yet, here I am, with wins over Yamamoto and Lazara. I guess I'll wait my turn. What else can I say? I lost. That match was long. I thought you were done with me.
How did you find a way to run from the city of the sun?
Wow, as if we couldn't. Wow. Lancelot is back. And, I mean, you could not have expected this in 100 years. Lancelot returning, and in the fashion that he did, attacking Garrett Gibson, the former champ, as if Gibson wasn't having a bad enough week after losing his title to Kurt Andrews, getting attacked by Lancelot. I've been told that they have been separated. Lancelot willingly stepped away after that brutal attack that we just witnessed. And, well, this show has already seen some of the most unexpected turns of events that I could have, that I couldn't have expected just 3 weeks from Bash at the Beach, and that is yet another one. Now, as we try to return to normal here, we get back to Midnight, the Raw champion, a belt that he introduced at Stormchaser Sydney. He called out Lee Carr for his first defense of that championship, and he did very well to defeat Carr, and it of course ended when Oliver Parker, after the match, attacked Carr in the ring. But here is Midnight explaining what the Raw Championship is and why he feels it's so important that it makes its way here to GAW. Now you see, this title has been defended in every underground promotion by any underground wrestler worth a damn. Hell, even Lancelot himself defended it. And we all know how big of a role the underground has played in GAW. The underground is the reason we're all here. But we, as underground wrestlers, have nothing to show for it. I plan on carrying on the legacy of this championship. No one can argue with the reverence Midnight puts behind the Raw title. Treats it better than, I would say, Dakota Kai treats the women's world title right now. And he's absolutely right. The legacy of underground wrestling has meant so much to GAW and the GAW Academy since we've come to YouTube. So it's great to have that title here, and this is the third consecutive show that he will be defending that championship on. Of course, his first defense came against Lee Carr in Sydney. He traveled back here to the US the next day to fight on Dark St. Paddy's Day. He beat Igris for the championship, and now this will be his third defense of that belt in as many shows. You talk about one of the hardest working men in the entire world. You're talking about Eddie Hernandez. He, of course, had an incredible match with Yun Son Park one last time in the main event of Stormchaser Sydney. It was one of the best matches I've ever seen. Yun Son Park came out the victor, but Eddie Hernandez had this to tweet. He says, quote, "Yun Son and I were part of the greatest spectacle in the history of GAW. We certainly paid for it too. We'll be on the shelf for a little while recovering from that. Thank you all so much for an incredible experience. And you can see that picture as well as Hernandez and Park embraced in front of the crowd. What an incredible moment it was. Meanwhile, in the ring here, Midnight has all of Stefford Drummond right now, and Midnight with a Canadian Destroyer. He has begun to use that very, very effectively, and it usually, we've seen it before, set up both the Sleepwalker as well as the Dream State. Another cover here from Midnight, and it's a kick out from Stefford Drummond. There was literally not a match on Stormchaser Sydney that wasn't just almost paradigm altering. Midnight comes flying in. What a knee strike. And Midnight now Drummond to his feet. Midnight boot to the gut. We know what's coming next. Midnight hoists him up. Sleepwalker. No one's kicked out of it, and forgive me, I don't think Stefford Drummond will be the first. Midnight retains the Raw Championship. He brought it to this company. He has explained why it means so much, not only to him, but to so many in the GAW Academy. Of course, we saw one of its most famous champions, Lancelot, earlier on. I don't know if he's doing the belt a service by acting the way he did, but you know what? He is one of the best, one of the great champions in the history of the underground circuit, and Midnight is starting to become that as well, just adding to the great legacy of the Raw Championship. And after what he's done here, 3 consecutive defenses in a week, that is unheard of in general admission wrestling. Even Will Ospreay did not achieve that when he was Intercontinental Champion in Season 1. What a performance for Midnight. There was something else big that happened on Stormchaser Sydney, one of the many, many huge moments. It was the unveiling of the first ever tag team power rankings. Here is a refresher. War sits at number 1, and of course the top 2 coming into Bash at the Beach, which starts in 3 weeks, will fight for the reactivated GAW Academy Tag Team Championships. Well, I have a big announcement to make. War will take on Andrew Wesley and Frankie Omega, the number 2 team, next week. And that is in addition to Woods Club battling Stefford Drummond and Scott Danielson on Dark coming up on Wednesday. If War wins that match, they will earn a tag title shot at Bash at the Beach. They will be guaranteed one of the 2 spots. So that leaves Wesley and Omega, and Lighter and Dagonite should War come out and win that. If Wesley and Omega win, well, we're thrown into chaos, folks. You can't miss that match. That's coming up next week. Coming up next is our main event. Lars Nightfall takes on Scott Danielson.
I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something.
My turn.
This is the main event I'm actually really looking forward to, given the fact that Scott Danielson has really been all over the board in terms of his performances. He's 2-3 so far in Season 2. His only match on Stormchaser came in a loss to Midnight, but it was a great match, and of course we've seen what Midnight has done. You want to talk about one of the most stunning moments from Stormchaser Sydney? We take a look back at Jackal fighting La Tortuga Roja. No disqualifications. Roja turned back the hands of time and gave us a performance that we haven't seen from him in a decade or more. And Roja shocked the world and beat his former student. Jackal was despondent, and of course Jackal went on to lose on Dark just a couple days after that. It was one of the most stunning things I've ever seen. Now, Lars Nightfall is 3-1 in the GAW Academy, but that only loss came because of Overload. Nightfall and Overload have battled for weeks now, and Overload is still suspended. That was in effect by Jason Parker after Overload was attempting to get into the arena to attack Lars Nightfall on Dark a couple weeks ago. That suspension is lifted on Wednesday, so we'll see what happens between Nightfall and Overload. But I'll tell you what, Nightfall, beyond that business with Overload, this guy is one of the scariest men in the GAW Academy. Let's not forget, he was tabbed by Eddie Hernandez to be the man to come in and protect the homestead, protect the GAW Academy, and somehow Overload didn't get the message. Well, Scott Danielson may very well might. Lars Nightfall, he's never in a good mood, but I think particularly now, given everything that's gone on, he is really not in a good mood. And in our main event, that is bad, bad news for the former Academy champion, Scott Danielson. You know, with two guys like this, with the pedigree that they both have, specifically when it comes to Danielson, his pedigree in the GAW Academy as a former champ, this match, I mean, this could go any way. I mean, I don't envy anyone who's placed a bet on this match, because I have no predictions at all. Here's what I do know. I'm getting breaking news. Jason Parker, our commissioner, he's back in the office. He's got a huge announcement.
Kid Andrews, he's true to his word. The champ came and found me and asked me to put Oliver Parker in a #1 contenders match. He's got it. The winner of this match will fight Oliver in 2 weeks on our final show before Bash. The winner fights the champ. In the meantime, Midnight wants a challenger for the Raw title as well. Next week, our main event. It'll be a 4-way match for that honor. We'll announce the participants next week. What an announcement from Jason Parker. Are you kidding me? This is now a qualifier for a #1 contenders match for Kurt Andrews' GAW Academy title. Now, this is short notice, but I gotta say, I can't exactly disagree with these two men being in a position like that. You're talking about Lars Nightfall, a 3-1 record, one of the best in the GAW Academy, and his only loss coming really by no fault of his own. It was just Overload getting himself involved, and then Santanico getting the win. So you really can't say anything about it. What a John Woo-style drop kick from Danielson. So that's when it comes to Nightfall. When it comes to Danielson, you're talking about a former champ. The man who lost the belt to Garrett Gibson. So I know it's not officially recognized when it comes to our website, but we know that Danielson held gold here in the Academy. So these are two very deserving men of an honor like that. Look at this. Scott Danielson now has the leg. Danielson trying to force a submission here from Lars Nightfall, and Nightfall far too strong for something like that. Scott Danielson does employ the claptrap submission, which is incredibly dangerous as well. A modified octopus hold, and now Danielson, look at this, military press into a power slam. Pound for pound, I don't know if there's anyone more powerful than Scott Danielson. Lars Nightfall might give him a run for his money, though, and now Danielson with the arm trapped, and both of them trying to go for that shoulder tackle. Nightfall went for the clothesline, drop toe hold into the middle rope, and now Danielson working on the much bigger man, isolating that arm. It's a smart strategy. We know that Lars Nightfall needs the arm for the nightmare, and now Danielson once again into a knee bar here. Nightfall, this is the second time he's been locked in this submission. He's close to the ropes, but he's just too powerful. Nightfall able to get those boots in, stop the submission, and now Nightfall pulls him back into a neck breaker. I don't know if these men even know. Cover here from Nightfall, and it's kick out at 2. I don't know if even these men know the stakes that have been placed on this match. I don't know what Parker told him. Nightfall now hoists him up. Nightmare! And Lars Nightfall may be the one in 2 weeks to fight Oliver Parker, and he is. Lars Nightfall. Without Overload here, it turns out that Lars Nightfall is one hell of a wrestler. What a match. And again, who knows if these men knew the stakes. Maybe Jason Parker told him before the match. I really don't know. I'll try to ask Jason before our show next week and see if these men really knew what they were fighting for. But whether they did or not, what we know is Lars Nightfall is going to be fighting for number one contendership at Bash at the Beach. In 2 weeks, it'll be Nightfall versus Oliver Parker to determine Kurt Andrews' contender, his challenger at Bash at the Beach. What a match, what a performance from Lars Nightfall, and I can't wait for our number one contenders match. And of course, next week, we've got a four-way to determine Midnight's contender, his challenger at Bash at the Beach. There's so much going on here in the GAW Academy. We have just 3 weeks to go before Bash at the Beach. So make sure that you subscribe. You don't want to miss a single second. Read full recaps of all of our shows over on generaladmissionwrestling.com. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you.